Hello, folks, and an ominous sign is upon us. That's right, the government may shut down because they can't get funding. Remember, funding bills require 60 votes to pass in the Senate, and the Republicans don't have 60 votes. So the Democrats are taking a page out of the Republicans and especially Mitch McConnell's playbook by threatening the filibuster. The only way you can get rid of the filibuster is by a cloture act, and that does require 60 votes. McConnell and the GOP did this many, many times to extract concessions and just to basically shut down government when Obama or Biden was in office. And now Democrats are doing the same playbook because their hardcore supporters are basically pushing their hand to fight for extension of the tax credits for the Obama plan medical stuff. And if these basically tax credits don't get extended, then insurance premiums, especially for the lower income folks, are going to go up something like 75%. Now, the GOP is saying that this shouldn't be a September fight, it should be a December fight, but many of them have already signaled that they are not willing to extend those tax credits for lower income people to get health insurance. Now, I think the Democrats can actually afford to push it out to December because it would pretty much be political suicide for many of those GOP members to vote against extending the tax credits for lower income people for health insurance because there's actually probably more Republicans that are dependent on it than Democrats are, especially in the poorer states, which are pretty much all in the deep South. A lot of people are actually dependent on those tax credits to even basically stay alive with health insurance, and without it, they essentially would be broke. We're talking about states like West Virginia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama. A lot of people in there, significant portions of the population and their constituency are actually dependent on those tax credits, and that's including a lot of rural people because the rural areas are generally poorer overall than the urban areas are, and they fall under that specific income threshold to actually qualify for those tax credits. And it's not a small amount of money. Some of them are getting like $300-$400 worth of tax credits per month for these health plans. And yes, you have to have a job and you have to be making money, but if you're not making enough money, then you get subsidized for health insurance. Makes a lot of sense. And it actually saves the rest of us money as well, because in America, even if you don't have money and you need ER treatment and basically you're about to die, they have to treat you. They can't just leave you on the street and let you die. They have to actually treat you, and that kind of emergency shock cost gets absorbed by the rest of us, which costs a lot more than if they actually just gone for regular checkups all along and went for a checkup when they had a little bit of discomfort rather than when they're about to actually die. So that's that spiel right there. But this could actually have potential huge ramifications on the cryptocurrency market. Now, the last shutdown, I believe crypto went down by 17% or something, but it didn't go down nearly as much as people thought. I think the overall stock market was actually affected even more than the crypto market because a lot of these big companies do actually rely on the government to keep functioning for a lot of their processes, whereas crypto kind of operates on its own. And there is a matter of trust. Crypto isn't centralized by the government. It doesn't really depend on government regulations and all that stuff. It can work without it. And it doesn't require sovereign trust in any one nation for it to actually keep going. So there are people that are arguing that a government shutdown might actually basically kill confidence in governments even more because it's the United States, the biggest government in the world. Well, not the biggest government, but the most powerful government in the world, shutting down. And basically, you have this decentralized non-governmental entity that's gaining more trust. It could actually boost up crypto a lot more afterwards. Do I think the government will shut down? I give it a 50-50 chance, obviously, because the deadline's kind of October 1st, and it looks like they are in a gridlock, so some of those essential services will remain running, but the rest of the government will actually be shut down. But in the financial markets, I think will be somewhat crippled because of that. I mean, the tech sector is already kind of screwed because Trump just enacted that $100,000 a year for an H-1B visa, so they can't rely on foreign workers anymore. So you can definitely expect the stock market in terms of tech stocks to actually go down. And that might actually drag crypto down with it. But in terms of the government shutdown, I think if it does shut down, we'll probably go down like 5 to 10%. And that's not including like the whole tech thing where they're not allowed to hire like Indian workers anymore. That might actually bring it down even more, especially like in the AI kind of field. That's kind of another issue altogether. I can't really speak on that all that much because I don't know enough about it. But realistically, like that could definitely affect things quite a bit more than like this whole government shutdown thing for crypto. But the government shutdown thing, I think, like I said, should bring down like crypto about 10%. And then like it should actually bounce up, especially if the government reopens and things get going again. I think crypto will go way, way up at that specific point. And that's because, you know, stuff gets back open, stuff's running again. And also you have this greater lack of trust in government because it just shut down. And of course, people might actually go into things that don't require as much government intervention. And that's really what crypto is. And I definitely think that kind of helped crypto come up after the shutdown last time. It took a while because we were like, you know, deep in like, I think the bear market when we shut down last time. But eventually, like when we came back up, we did come back up pretty hard. So overall, I don't actually think it'll help crypto. It'll hurt crypto. And I'm getting the feeling that even though right now crypto does go with the economy, it doesn't react to like these events where the government's like dysfunctional, like the rest of the economy is. I think like there are some people that are actually flowing back into crypto when they see the government's more and more dysfunctional than ever. So I think that actually is building like reputation points and trust points for crypto when the government actually falters. So a government shutdown, you might want to sell out a little bit, but within a couple of days, like once it drops like 5-10%, you probably want to buy back in because that might be the lowest it'll actually go. Remember, the government shut down for over a month at the longest shutdown, and crypto didn't just die. Yes, it did go down, but it actually did, I think, a lot better than what a lot of people actually expected. And because it did better than what a lot of people actually expected, I think like that kind of built trust for crypto. Remember, Bitcoin does not rely on Uncle Sam, even with the ETFs and perhaps the government buying Bitcoin. And it's not like the government's going to just sell all its Bitcoin because it's shut down. Remember, the government can't do jack if it's shut down. They can't sell their Bitcoin just because it's shut down. So the physical impact on the Bitcoin market is not really going to be all that non-existent. And I don't think like BlackRock Fidelity is going to stop buying Bitcoin or stop selling ETFs if the government shuts down as well. And the government isn't really buying that many ETFs itself. So there's not going to be a lot of like direct sales. I think some people might actually panic and sell their investments, but I don't think the vast majority of people are, because this isn't the first time they've threatened a government shutdown. They do this like once every couple of months. Like every time there's like about to be a budget pass for the year, like one party or the other threatens a government shutdown. A lot of times it doesn't actually happen, but for the couple of times it has, it doesn't last very long. And once it gets resolved, things just go back as normal. Obviously, government workers suffer because they miss a paycheck or two, but like for crypto investors, it shouldn't really bother us all that much, because even in a government shutdown, like the financial markets do actually keep moving. Investments keep moving. Yes, they're kind of like slowed down and tied up for a bit because like government funding isn't really there, but overall, it honestly should not be that bad for crypto. Once again, I do think it'll go down initially a little bit and then come back up fairly fast, and might actually gain more reputation points for crypto as something that's more dependable than even Uncle Sam. So yeah, the prospects of the government shutdown, even though people say it's a black swan, and I do think it's going to go down initially a little bit, it might not be like the big black swan that people are looking for. Certainly like better than something like FTX collapsing or like Terra Luna collapsing, which directly affects a lot of crypto. Whereas the government shutdown, I don't think will physically impact crypto, because like the government isn't really buying massive amount of crypto right now anyways. And the other big institutions aren't going to just randomly sell our crypto just because Uncle Sam can't function right. If anything else, they'll see that crypto is more dependable than Uncle Sam, and they'll buy even more crypto, which would actually help our industry in the long run. And remember, it's only the United States government. Like the Aussies aren't going to be like, oh, the United States shut down, I guess we have to shut down too. Vladimir Putin's like, not like, you know what, the US shut down, I guess that means we can't attack Ukraine anymore. China's not going to be like, you know what, Xi Jinping's not like, oh, Xi Jinping's not going to be like, oh, you know what, Donald Trump its government's shut down. We can't attack Taiwan now because everything has to go in freeze mode. It's not how the world works. It's only the United States. The other markets are still going to be working fine, although a little bit nervous. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.